Namaste, beloveds. This is Mother with Wisdom, and I'm calling this recording or this media outlet. This is going to be what I'm going to start calling a check-in. And I'm going to start doing these kind of when needed, when necessary, when I feel led to, and I felt spiritually led to do this morning. So it is what it is, and as long as I stay in that flow, I am good to go. As long as I stay in that flow, all that I need to know is within me. It is only when I step outside that way of knowing that a longing for something opens up and it becomes a craving, it becomes a need, it becomes a compulsion, it becomes almost an obsession. And in letting an observer part of me just watch me in action, I have learned so much about myself. And that is what I want to share, because in sharing that, I also realize my journey is your journey. And if our paths has crossed, it is not coincidence. We are here to teach each other. We are here to show each other. You are an aspect of me that has shown up in my life to help me realize my highest self. My highest self called you forth. And here you are in my life at this moment, at this time. And if you're listening to me, our thoughts are merging. Our auras, our essence is interacting with each other. And that's always a good thing. I want to come in for a minute, just stop and say I'm not playing Diva Pramal this time, but there will be a variety of artists. In the background, you'll hear the music going. And the music list, I own none of this music, and the music is in my playlist on YouTube called Mama's Soul. This is Mama's Soul on my playlist on YouTube that is playing. So that's what you hear in the background, if you're able to hear it. And with that, I just want to move on. That was just a disclaimer, not owning the music, so I ain't got nothing to be sued by anyway, but go for it. Getting back on point. See how the ego wants to get off a point and go just trogging around and stuff. I am grounding myself and bringing myself back to where I need to be with this recording. And in being here, I want to say so many changes are taking place within and without, and so much understanding is taking place. There I am grasping all kinds of information about myself that I had never put together, never took the time to look at why that part of me responded in such a manner, or what that part needed and why it needed it. Don't get me wrong, I am a whole and complete being. I am a house with many rooms, many mansions, just like my Creator. And I am an expression of her, him, them, we, us. I want to address something that has come up in my environment, in my psyche, in my dreams and visions, and in my life right now. And that is looking for and I know this is going right back to this again, and you're like, gosh, I wish you'd just get somebody, do it, and get it over with. But that is not the case. That is not how I function. That is not how I operate. This is my journey. This is my lesson. And I have to do it in a way that is self-sustaining and self-satisfying and with my highest intent at its core. And so in doing that, I am not putting out connections and cords to everything the way I used to. I'm not seeing everything in a black and white scenario. I'm seeing with all the colors. I'm seeing the different variances, the different variations. And I'm knowing that a variation does not cause you to be something that you're not. We all have variations in our natures and in our ways of learning and our way of consuming. That's another word that Spirit wanted me to understand and understand about myself. That I am a consumer. I am a consumer of knowledge. I am a consumer of will. I am a consumer of love. I am a consumer. And as a consumer, I need to know my boundaries, my regulations, and I need to be without judgments. That way is one of the things that Mama wanted me to really get, is to not judge. We are all on journeys. My journey will not be identical to yours. Your journey will not be identical to mine. It may have similarities. It may have synchronicities, but it is a different journey. It is tempered only for me. So I don't expect you, I cannot expect you to understand what is designed for me and my psyche and my feelings and my perceptions and my way of knowing and my visions. I can't expect you or anyone to understand that, or I don't need your agreement for it. I don't need you to understand it. I don't need you to understand it. All I need you to do is to honor it. And as I go about my life, I'm learning that I have to honor your lessons and your life and where you are at this present time without judgment. That I do not have the right to judge you. That I do not have the right to deny or to move you up. That is not my place. My place is to only be me and to be the best me that I can be and to know myself. That is the commandment with a promise. Know yourself. In knowing yourself, you fulfill every single obligation that is required of you. When you know yourself, you have begun on a path that there is no turning back from. And you have to realize that on your journey, as you grow, your levels of knowledge and appreciation and understanding begin to grow because the blinders are removed, the boundaries are moved. Fear is replaced with knowing, and knowing is replaced, gives you a confidence. It gives you a sense of home. It gives you a firm, solid, trustworthy foundation to build upon. And when you get to this point in your knowing of yourself, you begin to look for things that are going to aid and support you and that are going to firm you up so that you can go to a higher state. So you don't build upward without a secure foundation, or everything that you attempt will fall and crumble because the foundation is cracked or faulty or has flaws. So it doesn't matter how many times we start over on that foundation. The point is to get that foundation right, get it intact, so that you can build upon it. That is the key. That is the key of Solomon, of building the temple. The foundation has to be right. And we have to take an active part in the building. We can't just hand it over to a master builder and say, here, build this. This is my dream and you do it. No. You have to be hand in hand with your master builder. You have to be hand in hand with your carpenter. You have to be hand in hand with your painter. You have to be hand in hand with your decorator. That is the only way you make it yours. Your signature expressed. Your values expressed. That is your temple. It becomes your temple. It based upon a firm foundation, on something that no man can steal from you. No storm can take or knock down from you. Something that will withstand all the agents of time. And it comes with a way of knowing who you are. That is first and foremost in everything. In the moment we are born, we want to know who we are. And we learn that through our mothers, through our environment, through interactions with everyone. And when we get to the point where we are no longer, where we stand on our foundation that we built, that we constructed, that we designed, and said, this is who I am. And in order to be in my temple, you have to honor my path. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be yours. You don't have to adopt it. But you do have to honor it. Just as I will honor your path, your way of knowing, your individuality, because you are also an expression of me. And so if I am to honor my Creator, I must honor you in whatever place, in whatever space, in whatever capacity you are functioning in. It is not my place to judge you. You are necessary to my growth. You have been called upon. You have been manifested. You have been evoked. You have been called forth and forward. And even if it's just in a passing greeting of saying hi, nodding my head to you, and moving on and never seeing you again, I have extended honor to you by seeing you, by acknowledging you. In just that second, in just that moment, our spirits intertwined and connected. We didn't cling on to each other, we moved on. But we acknowledged each other. And that is where we have to get. That is where we have to move forward in our evolution, is seeing each other without judgment. In accepting each other where we come, how we come, without judgment. Nothing is new under the sun. Millennia, ages have passed, and we are still yet to learn to look at each other without judgment. Indigenous ones understand this most. The honor, the integrity that it takes to live and to breathe as one being in a hive of beings, in a community of beings. You have to get real. You have to open your eyes and see with sight beyond sight. Your senses are there to teach you. They are your buffers. They are your guides. They help you. They cannot do the work. What I see, it's up to me to interpret what it means. It's up to me to perceive what it means to me and how I feel about it. And if I am mature in my walk, in my space where I am right now, I will do so. I will observe without judgment. And it came to me that that is what is meant by meant in the Bible, where it says, "What I have made clean, you do not call it unclean." And I'm paraphrasing, of course, but you know what I mean. Wisdom is wisdom. It resonates. No matter where it comes from. Lies are lies, no matter where they come from. It's up to you to understand and understand what it means to you, how true it is to you, how it plays out in your path, in your journey, without judgment. And that is the hardest thing to do, because the first thing we are taught as infants, as children, is to judge something. No, that is wrong. That is, you can't touch that. You can't do that. No, no, no. We are given boundaries. We are given what is right and what is wrong, and if we can do this and if we can't do that. And who we are and where we are on our journey determines if we are learning and progressing, or if we are stymied and stuck. And when we are stymied and stuck, it depresses the spirit. The spirit can't rise. It can't move. It can't float. It can't be itself in this stagnated space of self-judgment, self-doubt, self-denial. So my thing lately has been, for the past few years, as a matter of fact, has been dealing with unrequited love and recognizing what I need to learn from unrequited love, from my pursuit of it, from my need for it, for my coddling it, for my nurturing it, for my opening myself up for it. Unrequited love means you are loving someone who is not able to give you what you need back. And it is annoying. You go in knowing, regardless of the potential that you see, regardless of the red flags that are warning you, regardless of the many holes that keep flashing in your... Remember when you fell in this hole the last time? You're headed down this same path. Turn. Warning, Will Robinson. Danger, Will Robinson. But you keep on going. No. This is different. I'm different. I can do this. This is for me. I can change them. I can change unrequited love. No, you can't. You cannot change unrequited love. Unrequited love is unrequited love. And when it becomes something different, you will no longer want it because your path was seeking the lesson of unrequited love. And so in seeking this and in looking for this and in questioning myself, where did this need arise from? It arose from a young child's mind who felt that she wasn't getting the love that she needed from her family, from her core members, from her environment, from the world, from the system that she was born into. You know, she is so sensitive. She even feels what other people feel. Even when it's fear and hate, she can understand it because she sees both sides of it. And she doesn't take sides and she doesn't judge. She only observes. And in observing, she learns more about herself because she enacts and reacts in a way that is truthful for her. And her truth will probably be different from anyone else's truth. And it shouldn't matter if it is or if it isn't. The point of it all is the lesson. What is the lesson of unrequited love for you, Valerie Ames? The lesson for me is that there is no such thing as unrequited love. That it is a feeling, a way of knowing, a journey designed to show you, to teach you that once you are fully connected to your higher self, once you have gotten to a certain point of learning yourself and knowing yourself, and you are very truthful with that, and you're a mirror reflection to yourself. That is what this is right now, what I'm doing, why I am recording this, because this is a reflection. This is a mirror image of me looking into the depths of my own soul. And I'm sharing that with you because we all need to look into the depths of our own souls. There are things that we are not ashamed, that we are ashamed of. There are things that we are proud of. There are things that scare us, that we are afraid of, that we hate. All of this. But in order to learn you must learn each of these. We must become familiar with each of these feelings, why we feel the way we feel. And when we cut off our feeling, why are we doing it? Because I've been the numb person. I've existed as that numb person that you could say and you could do anything and it wouldn't matter to me because I was numb. I was that cold-hearted soul that you couldn't penetrate. I've been there. I've done that. That no emotion registered. I've been there. I've done that. But I'm at a place now where all I do is feel. And I enjoy the feelings. And I sit back and I look at each one of them and I examine them because they are treasures to me. Because I can feel them. And I am aware of each feeling of them. And each is a jewel. Each is a gem. Each is a flower. Each is a color. Each is beautiful in its own right. And I honor each feeling that surfaces because it validates me. It validates my evolving. It validates my journey. And so as I keep looking within and without and mapping the dots, the picture I see is an enlightened soul. And that enlightened soul looks back and smiles at its child because it is my mother and I am its child and it loves me and it has always had me. Even when I didn't know I was holding on, I was holding on and I was being held on too. And this is so important for us to know about ourselves. And it is so important for us to be able to get there as a species, not just as an individual, but as a species, as a community, as a people, as a soul force, as a soul essence, as a divine expression. And yes, there will always be those who, on their own journey, aren't where they should be. That we have no control of that. We can only shine our own light instead of hiding it. We can only allow ourselves to be ourselves and to stop cringing and to stop. Sometimes I actually feel that I have to lessen myself because I'm too much for what I would consider the average person in their journey to be. I'm too much for them, and I'm no longer going to walk around dimming myself. I'm no longer going to walk around not saying what I see or what I feel or what Spirit has revealed to me based upon what somebody else may think of me. I know who I am, and I am all that is. And there is no apology in that, and there is no shame in that. The earth is not ashamed of her mud. The earth is not ashamed of her dirt, no more than she is of her clouds. They are all hers, all her children, all parts of her. I don't no longer separate parts of my body and say I don't like this and I don't like that. I don't like my hair. I don't like my fat fingers. They're short, they're stubby. I don't like my foot. I don't like my legs. I don't like my belly. I don't like my body. I don't like my color. I don't like this. I don't like that. In saying all of that, what is my message to my Creator? Huh? What is my message to my mother? I don't like me. So when you don't like you, what kind of world do you create for yourself to live in? It has to be one that is a system designed to prick you, to cut you, to behead you, to take your soul away from you, because you're not in tune with yourself. You not in tune with your Creator. You don't hear the messages. You don't hear the harmony. You can't feel the love. You're too busy in fright or fear mode. And what are you afraid of? Evolving and knowing yourself. Because it costs you your fears and your ego. It costs you your ego. Your ego has to surrender. Your ego has to sit in the back seat with duct tape over its mouth. You know? And we really have to get to this point where we are so in love with ourselves that we recognize everything that doesn't love us and that isn't good for us right now. That we may see the potentiality in it, but it has not achieved its own potentiality. See, we can have all the potential in the world, but if we don't utilize it, if we don't act upon it, it matters not. And I used to always get mad at my teachers when I was little, because all of them would say the same thing to my mother and father at parent-teachers conference. No matter what age I was, no matter, even when I was in a foster home, the message was always the same. She has so much potential, but she doesn't live up to it. She doesn't apply herself. She's lazy. She just gets by. She just does enough to get by. But she is capable of so much more. She is capable of more than what we can even understand. And I realize that's always been said, and I've always been a rebel to rebel again. I don't want to do what you want me to do. I don't want to do. This is what you see. I don't see it. I don't feel it. I'm just going to be me. And you get to a point when you do start to mature. And I will be 49 years old next year. So I am at a point where in my journey where I have looked, I have listened, I have observed, I have suffered, I have known happiness and joy, and I know what each of them feels like. And I know what I want, and I know that I don't want to swim through the sharks to get to the island. I just want to get to the island, and I don't have to be afraid of the sharks. They're there for their own reasons. And it's not for me to understand or understand. I just have to get to the island around the sharks and honor them for being there and understand that they serve a purpose because they exist, whether I understand the purpose for them or not, and understand that I call them into my environment because some kind of way, subconsciously or higher consciously, they needed to be there, whether it's for my own protection or protection against others. Some things you just don't question. Some things you just have to accept and move on. And that is my awareness of source. You're never going to understand or understand every single thing. Our minds are incapable of that. And in knowing yourself, you need to know your limitations and your strengths and your weaknesses. You need to know what you believe and what you don't believe. But you also need to understand that as you grow, your beliefs may change. You can be so convicted right now about a certain situation or a certain thought or a certain belief. But as life moves and as you journey through that, you understand, you begin to see that what you are so convicted on can be expanded upon. There is no wrong or right. There's only expansion and growth. And that is what we really need to get to be able to understand our humanness. We don't need to know ourselves spiritually. We know that even if we are not in tune with that kind of rides and sits there and speaks to us, even when we are in fast and furious mode, that voice is still there if we are quiet enough to allow it ourselves to hear it. Another thing I wanted to get into was, and again, I love being transparent because it allows no room for misunderstandings. It allows no room for secrecy. It allows no room for fears to grow into something that becomes unknowable and unmanageable or an enemy. If I say, into me see, then I am allowing access into realms and rooms in my mansion that I don't let everyone else into, you know. But I'm open right now, and in my opening, I just want to say, we have, what am I trying to say? We have to allow the ups and downs, the ins and outs. We have to allow for the magnetism of the polarities in order to find the middle ground. You have to be aware of the white and the black. You have to be aware of the north and the south. You have to be aware of the east and the west, the up and the down, the left and the right, the straight and the circular. You have to be aware of all of these designs and motions. And you need to know that you're going to function and spiral in these emotions when you step into them. When you step onto a journey and you begin to ask for synchronicity, you have opened the doorway for all of your guides to speak to you. You've opened a doorway for the universe to connect with you as a mother and care for you and nurture your soul spirit. And we have to do that, and we only get there by not judging and not limiting ourselves or labeling ourselves with certain roles. I used to label myself as strong. Valerie, you have to be strong. You have to be strong. Your name means strong. Since you've been born, you've had to be strong. You've had to survive. You've had to hold on to these visions and witness these atrocities and feel the pains and the aches and the misery of self-denial and self-hate. And when I say self, I mean all of us, because when I look around, even as a child, I felt others. And I felt their thoughts and their feelings. And I balanced why? Why do you feel that way? Why do you see it that way? Why do you hear it that way? Why does it affect you that way? Why? Those were always my questions. And I am beginning to understand and understand why. It is the journey. It is what we agreed upon. It is where we are in our own growth, in our own development, in our own stage, phase, or season. And we have different seasons, people. My beloveds, we have different seasons. And in looking for a mate, in looking for a friend, in looking for a reflection, in looking for yourself, you have to be able to mirror what you need. You have to be able to reflect it. There has to be a connection. There has to be a bond, a link, a yoke, and that's old school, You cannot be unevenly yoked. You cannot have one wanting to move forward and the other one wanting to stand still. You can't have one ready to stand still and the other one only looking backwards. It doesn't mesh. It doesn't blend. The essence cannot be achieved. The alchemical reaction cannot happen because the ingredients are not all there. And so we have to get to a point where we are looking for those who reflect our visions, who reflect our way of thinking, who can nourish us and help anchor us. You know, we really have to get to this point where we bond with each other, where we form families, where we form hives, where we form clans, where we form centers of non-judgment, of where paths meet and merge. There are so many things that limit us that we don't need to limit ourselves in, and we need to learn to let go of certain things. Let go of things that no longer serve us, those old attitudes, the why do I need unrequited love? I don't need unrequited love. I don't want unrequited love. I want love, damn it. You know, I want love. I want someone to see me, see all of me, be intimate with all of me, be naked with me. You know, see me at all my faults, you know, be able to stand all my little stinkiness and funkiness and all of it, you know, and I'll stand yours because you reflect me, and I'll see you and I'll know you and I know what is needed. And so many of us are so busy and caught up in our own rapturous dreams that we miss the reality of what could be, of what can be, the reality of what can be by being our most authentic self. We get so caught up in the delusions of the illusions that we start to dream in system speak, in the language of the system. The system is designed for you to never reach your highest self, for you to never be grounded, for you to never not be beholden to it. The system needs you. It consumes you. You need to learn what else to consume to make yourself unpalatable to the system. And when we begin to get there, we will notice so many changes taking place. And I see them. I see the cornerstones have been put in place for this shift, this change, this different way. And I am honored to be here at its onset once again. And I will keep coming forward as needed through different periods of time, through many different generations and many different ways of knowing. I pledge to be here. That's part of what I am and what I do and who I am. And I see myself reflected in many other spiritual warriors. And I see many who are trying to get here to this way of knowing themselves and then connecting with others. And the system has kept us at bay by saying this is insanity, by defining and labeling and giving boundaries and limitations and saying what you can't do, or saying that all you can do is be divided into classes of people. high, middle, and low. Spirit did not create a lower being. Spirit never created a lower being. That's man's terminology. Everything that Spirit created has a plan and a purpose. And it does that purpose. One way or another, it is carried out. And it is up to us as divine children to bring about this new world, because we brought about the old one with our doubts, with our needs. I need a king, and I need a king that I can see to walk amongst us. He's my brother, but that person is not. I'm better than them. They're lower than me. Judgments. We have to get away from the judgments. We have to get away from them, because they are what keeps us locked in boxes. They are what keep designing more boxes. Being truthful with oneself is a very powerful weapon. It is the most powerful weapon. It is one of the most powerful weapons. When you are true with yourself, when you are honest with yourself, and you say, I'm going to stand in honesty in all things, that is a commitment of significant proportion. And it is one that, if you stay true to it, will reward you. That's a universal law. What goes around comes around. If you live your life without judging, you will step into a world where you are not judged, but where you are seen, and where you are accepted for yourself, for your own value. You may be a ruby, you may be a diamond, you may be an emerald, you may be a flower, you may be a rose, you may be a daisy, you may be a weed. Whatever you are a necessary portion of this life, of this understanding, of this time period. Everything that is happening